Hi everybody, welcome to my channel once again. Today what we are going to discuss or analyze is the previous question paper for Nebosh Environmental or National Diploma Examination for January 2020. Here how we are going to analyze is we will be reading each question and we will find out how the way we can answer, how to find an answer, how to make out an answer, right? How to design an answer from the question itself. So in order to save the time, I'm directly going to the questions. So the question paper of 2020 January Nebosh International Environmental Diploma. The first question: an agricultural organization has found that runoff from one of its farms is entering a nearby river. The farm uses fertilizers and chemical pesticides on its crops. So the first question, so basically you must understand that you may understand the question, maybe sometimes somebody can understand the question in the first reading itself, but it is always it is recommended, you must read the question 2 to 3, 4 times. So then only you will understand the clauses inside, what is being asked. Immediately the answer will coming into your mind. So accordingly, the answers can be designed. So first question, an agricultural organization has found that runoff from one of its farms is entering a nearby river. So the source is being explained and the receptor is being explained. Here the source is the agricultural organization. It has emission, runoff. It has an emission from one of its farms. So it is entering a receptor river. So the farm, what is this using? The farm uses fertilizers. So fertilizers, having nutrients, having heavy metals, having potassium, calcium, or all whatever NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, this kind of nutrients, and chemical pesticides. Like it can include the heavy metals or whatever it is, the pesticides or chemicals are made. So what the first question is 5-mark question. You need to identify. That means you need to list. So you may be knowing the identify means the listing of chemical, physical, or biological properties of the farm runoff that may cause pollution. So as we know from the question itself that is entering a nearby river and the farm utilizes fertilizers. As I said before, it will be nutrients and it will have a chemical. So especially we need to know that we by this time we should be knowing that. So physical, chemical, biological, microbiological, physiological properties of an effluent must be or it is monitored by its biological oxygen demand, chemical oxygen demand, and TSPs and dissolved oxygen demand. So many kind of things we can write here as a list of physical, chemical, or biological properties of the like eutrophication. It can become. So you need to understand. You need to measure what you will measure. Identify chemical, physical, or biological properties of the farm runoff. So BOD is a biological oxygen. So the examiners recommended. So properties of farm runoff that may cause pollution, such as biological oxygen demand or chemical oxygen demand, a presence of chemical pollutants and nutrients, as we discussed it. So carefully, you need to read the question carefully. Then only you can understand or able to write it properly, what is being asked. Writing something which is irrelevant will not give you any marks. So the second question, describe the potential environmental effect of this runoff entering the water course, because this consists of fertilizers and chemicals and nutrients. Of course, it will cause the eutrophication and oxygen-less environment. So oxygen depletion, toxicity, or damage to aquatic plants and animals. So these answers can be easily, invented or derived from the question itself, because it's going to a river. River should have oxygen. River, if there is any high quality nutrients is going, it will start eutrophication and the oxygen will be less and it will start producing anoxic environment and toxicity of the water will increase. Of course, as a river, there will be floras and faunas, aquatic plants, and animals like proliferants, there will be cnidarians and platyhelminthes, helminthes, whatever it is, the biological environment will get impacted. So you can easily describe the potential environmental effect of this runoff by taking consideration of fertilizers and chemical pesticides. Okay, so this is how you need to describe. The description is a description. You have to describe the potential environmental effects of this runoff. It is easy to describe this process because it's already given the answers in the question if you clearly look into that. So the second question, incineration is waste treatment technology that involves the composition of waste at high temperature. So this is a high-level course. As this is a high-level course, you must be knowing what is incineration, the burning of waste. For example, burning of medical waste, burning of animal waste, burning of whatever like glass waste, whatever metal waste. This is a kind of disposal of waste or recycling of waste is done through incineration. So incineration is a waste treatment technology that involves the composition of waste at a high temperature, more than 1000 degree, more than 800 degree at least. So you need to identify or list 3 of the main groups of air pollutants that may be released by the incineration process. So air pollutants, usually NOx, SOx, COX, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, sulfur oxide, ozones, and oxines when you are burning some kind of medical waste. So, and you need to give relevant examples of each group. So you need to give relevant examples for each group. So you will be finding out 3 and give relevant examples of each group. It's a 6-mark question. So what is examiner saying is better responses included and identify group of pollutants. So acidic gases, give a corresponding example such as nitrogen oxides. But some learners did not identify the group of pollutants, but not only listed relevant examples of common pollutants from such groups and so obtained few marks. So they are explaining how you people getting less marks because you not understanding the questions properly and having less information about the topic. So these questions are all based on learning outcomes. So the learning outcomes in the Nebosh International Diploma is very high. So you can expect questions from any of these all learning outcomes. If you have any doubts, which is you need to explain more, we can go to the topic and make more videos if you please comment. Then knowledge and understanding of learning outcome outline the appropriate control strategies and measure of solid waste. So solid waste management, segregation, and how to store, how to transport, how to dispose, how to recycle, how to make it waste to energy. So these kind of things are covered in this topic. So what are the laws involved, transportation, storage, whatever the different, the UK law, HSE, UK laws, and the international other laws you need to consider. So, and you need to outline the benefits of incineration. Outline means an outline. You don't have to, you have to point wise the complete clear, meaningful lines. You need to outline the limitations of incineration and the limitations of, the benefits of incineration. So basically, you need to always consider when you answer, you need to consider material, equipment, source, and people. You need to consider these things when you answer any questions in Nebosh International Diploma. That will give you easy way to find out the answer. Okay, so here for answer part B, so the question was outline the benefits of incineration, outline the limitations of incineration. The examiners commented that some learners did give a range of relevant benefits, small size of plant or reduction of waste volume, but for many learners, the answers were limited in breadth. Similarly, in outlining limitations, many learners had difficulty in more than few relevant points. Better answers reference range of limitation, high capital costs, potential for order, concerns about health effects from emissions. These kind of things I told you to when you make answer for this kind of questions, you need to consider always material, equipment, and surrounding and people. And environment basically. So all this coming in these points, if you consider. So it is easy to make the outlines of benefits of incineration. It is easy to make, it's easy available, and it is easy to burn than considering the segregation methodology. The waste can be converted into energy. These are all benefits. And limitations include it will cause smell, public nuisances. It always cause pollution. It will it can be misused. So many things you can write in the outline section, but you need to make it as a outline points, not as a identify question. So you need to careful of that question word also. So the question 3, I'm going a little bit faster because time will go. Identify environmental issues that could be considered in a policy for purchasing goods. So basically, when you are purchasing, you need to identify, you need to list about 20 points, then only you will get 20 marks. So it is easy to make it as you take it as a material, equipment, environment, source, and people. If you consider these points, it will come 20 more than 20. So basically, you need to identify environmental issues that could be considered in a policy for purchasing goods. Environmental policy means who is made and what format, which company, which organization, who is making this policy. These people should consider environmental issues that could be considered in a policy for purchasing goods. Basically, it should be sustainable policy. So if you can see what examiners commented, this question is mainly the policies, procedures, and system of work, and how this would remember my organization. This is the element which is this question is belongs to. And see, this is basically the question on sustainability. Okay, when you have a sustainable policy, you should consider everything from cradle to grave principle. For example, that is the life cycle principle. So here, see, for example, this question, as per the examiners, the comments, with a wide range of marks being given, better answers included a wide range of considerations that cover relevant issues associated with both a supplier such as having, because when you have a policy for an organization, here it is not especially described what kind of organization, whether it is manufacturing or a service industry or a trading industry. This is not mentioned here. So you can include anything. So purchasing raw material should be sustainable raw material, sustainable transportation, sustainable procurement system. You can include many things in this. So issues associated with supply goods. So here, waste disposal, transportation impact. So from cradle to grave, like from life cycle of the for the material goods which is being purchased should be considered for identifying environmental issue inside the policy. So it is easily you can make 20 points if you consider source, material, equipment, environment, and people. So 5 points, 4 points will come from each, and it will become easily 20 points. So for question 4, a manufacturing organization uses adhesive containing organic solvents in one of its process. So adhesive is nothing but a chemical or a pigment. So the organization is a catalyst. The organization is planning to carry out emissions monitoring of solvents that could be released to the atmosphere through an exhaust stack. You should know that there will be exhaust stack in an organization which burns something, which heats something. The organization is planning to carry out emissions monitoring. Outline what should be considered when planning this monitoring activity. Okay, so you should consider monitoring activity, the kind of activity you are doing, the process involved, the regulatory requirement, and the pollution status, the emission, atmospheric emission status. So you can include outline many things. Here also you can apply the earlier way of answering material, source, equipment, and people and surrounding. These kind of things of easy key way of finding out the answer for each question. So you need to understand the question and apply that principle. You can easily find out 16 points. So identify 4 possible methods of quantifying organic solvents emission with this monitoring activity. This is stack monitoring, nothing but stack monitoring. 4, you need to find out the 4 methods of quantifying organic solvents emissions with this monitoring activity. You can find out not only with the stacks, you can diffusion tubes, you can measure the sampling procedures, there are laser technologies, there are UV ray methodologies, the latest gas detection methodologies. There are many ways you can find out. This power is easy to identify. There is artificial intelligence methodology. So there are many kind of methods of quantifying organic solvents emissions from a factory, from a stack or an emission unit. So the fifth question, what is meant by the term corporate social responsibility? This is the easy question. You need to outline that what is meant by corporate social responsibility. You need to make out 4 points out of this question, especially this means that every company, every factory organization has its responsibility to the public and to moral responsibility, which is coming enforced by legal responsibility, which is coming to the economic responsibility. If you are following the corporate social responsibility principle, you can meet the legal responsibility and economic will come automatically. So you can easily see the question, the examiner is saying answers were variable. Some learners give answers that demonstrate they had knowledge of the identified terms and could give an outline of their meaning. However, many learners see difficulty applying the term particular social license. Social license means so a company is running in an industrial area or an area or a residential area. If the public is okay, the public is not making any complaints or nuisance complaints or issues to the or the newspaper is not noting down the pollutions made by the company, then there is a silence, a social silence where the correct answers for ongoing acceptance of standard business practices. So company is doing a business in a healthy way. That means there will be no issue on social way. So that means that company has a social license. Okay. So this is the way. I think the video is going more. So I will discuss one more question. Identify the 4 phases of life cycle analysis and outline the main content of within each identified phase. So it is like 20-mark question. You need to identify the 4 phases. So environmental aspects arising from workplace activities. This is the relevant learning outcome. Explain the techniques for evaluating environmental aspects arising from workplace activity. You need to identify the 4 phases of life cycle analysis. I told you life cycle analysis means from cradle to grave principle, from start of from raw material, then processing, manufacturing, then it is where it is becoming waste and where it is disposed. So all things from the cradle to grave is completed in the life cycle analysis. So generally limited, most people do not understand what is meant by life cycle assessment analysis. Difficulty giving answers. So beyond identifying the 4 phases of life cycle analysis, goal and scope by definition, inventory analysis, impact assessment, and interpretation report, only a few learners obtain further marks by applying the main content within each stage. So ISO 14000, for example, you should read carefully and understand the 4 phases of life cycle analysis. A good outline of goal and scope definition would have included definitely functional units, setting system boundaries, setting out assumptions and limitations. So life cycle analysis always asks question and specific topic in the syllabus, and learners should be prepared to explain it. So life cycle analysis is nothing but, as I explained, from starting of a product, from its manufacturing or use of raw material and its products and byproducts and transportation, and it will include the selling of the product. If it is a product is from manufacturing, if it's services from the client's reporting, and then how it is dealt with the client and how it is reported to the client. So everything from the beginning to end should be analyzed. What is the impact of each steps? For example, when you are purchasing raw material, there are a lot of things involved: transportation of the raw material and storage of raw materials, processing of raw material, handling of raw material, and when it is used in the machines for manufacturing, there will be emission. So it is a huge, vast thing. So all things should be considered. So it is only saying you to identify the 4 phases of life cycle analysis and outline the main content within each identified phase, and it is given 20 marks. So here also you can material, equipment, source, and people and surroundings you can consider while answering the question. So another question 7 is outline what is meant by the term carbon footprinting. Carbon footprinting is nothing but you need to find out the carbon dioxide equivalent of different greenhouse gases like chlorofluorocarbon, carbon monoxide, methane, etc. So it's given outline 3 marks. Outline the purpose of carbon footprinting. Carbon footprinting for climatic impact assessment. It is rarely used, and identifying the company's production strategies, identify how the contribution of social responsibility and how it can be reported, and it is how it will be reported and what is the reporting purposes to the government. And these things you can find out, outline the purpose of carbon footprinting. This is a huge purpose, carbon footprinting, because of the climate impact assessment, legal requirement, social responsibility, and you can find out easily 7 if you consider the earlier discrepancy of material, equipment, source, and people. Describe the information that may be included on an energy label for a washing machine. For example, this is a describe question. These are all outline question. You should have 3 points as an outline sentences, and here you have 7 points as an outline sentences to get the full mark. And here describe question. Here the information that may be included on an energy level for washing machine should be our five sentences to give 10 mark. So describe the information that may be included on an energy label for washing machine label. It will have the name of manufacturer. It will have the name of the trademark. It will have the energy consumption. So energy label for washing machine. What information it will have? The amount of water it is will be used. The amount of electricity it will be used. And the energy consumption, total energy consumption, how can be energy consumption minimized? This information you can easily write. Okay, so this is how it is to answer the questions, and I'm stopping because the time is up. So thank you very much. See you in the next video. Ask me questions if you have. Thank you very much for listening.